Hey, tonight we're going to take a look at this great story from God's Word in Luke chapter 10, verses 38 through 42. It's a story about a couple of sisters who invite Jesus to come over to the house. Here's what it says. As Jesus and the disciples continued on their way to Jerusalem, they came to a certain village where a woman named Martha welcomed him into her home. Her sister Mary sat at the Lord's feet, listening to what he taught. But Martha was distracted by the big dinner she was preparing. She came to Jesus and said, "Lord, doesn't it seem unfair to you that my sister just sits here while I do all the work? Tell her to come and help me." But the Lord said to her, "My dear Martha, you are worried and upset over all these details. There is only one thing worth being concerned about. Mary has discovered it, and it will not be taken away from her." Now we're here today with Nathan Lippy. He is a professional chef, and he's also going to be on the Today Show tomorrow morning at the 9 o'clock hour. So we're going to look for that. Nathan, what are you going to prepare for us today?
Well, today I wanted to do something really simple, something really flavorful. We're going to do a chicken bruschetta. A few simple ingredients, but each flavor plays a very big part. So you want to get going?
Sure, go for it.
First thing, we have a big saute pan. We're going to add a little bit of olive oil. We're going to start cooking our chicken. This is pretty much the only thing we're going to cook in this dish because all the natural raw flavors and the tomatoes and the Parmesan and the basil are going to play for themselves.
Cool.
So we have a little bit of chicken. I'm doing chicken cutlets, very, very thin. A little salt and pepper. You going to put these in the pan?
Wow, it'll be the only thing that I do to cook. I'd love to.
All right, so a little salt and pepper, just like that. And you can use these tongs.
Good, good. All right.
Just throw that oil around just a little bit. You can pop those right down in the oil.
Oops.
Yep, there you go.
Hey, I'm cooking.
Love that sound. Great, and I'll take that, and I'll take that as well. So the next part is really, really simple. We're going to basically take some of these beautiful vine-ripened tomatoes. We're going to do a small little dice, just like so. Do you like bruschetta?
Yes.
I think it's delicious.
There's not many foods that have been invented that I don't like.
Well, that's good. So we're going to do a small little dice, just like so. The nice thing about bruschetta is that there's not a whole lot of cooking involved, and all those flavors really marinate together, kind of making the whole dish that much better. You know, like tomatoes are great on their own. Basil's great on its own. But when you put them together, each flavor develops the other flavors.
It's like they're becoming partners in a flavor experience.
Exactly. I could eat a tomato with just some salt and pepper, just like an apple. But when you mix it with the basil and the garlic, it just becomes something completely different. So it's a nice little small dice on these.
Now how long are you going to cook that chicken?
Just until it's finished. I want to add a little bit of color. We're going to crank the heat up a little bit. These are little cutlets, so it shouldn't take much longer than 2 minutes or so.
Now, obviously, you love to cook, but what's the thing that you're the most passionate about when you're cooking?
Well, cooking is great, but if you're just cooking it, no one gets to eat it. The serving it is the best part. When you're actually making something, you're taking your time to prepare something delicious and wonderful, and then you serve it to someone and they get to eat it. And in my opinion, that's the greatest part of cooking, the serving part. So,
now what's the character in the story, Martha, was preparing a meal that she had invited Jesus to come to her house, and they were doing this meal, and she got distracted by all the different things that she was doing in terms of the meal preparation. And her sister Mary, she kind of just sat at the feet of Jesus and enjoyed him. Was there ever a time when you felt resentful after you'd worked really hard on a meal and preparing it?
Absolutely. I think when you cook, it's not always just simple and easy. Sometimes it takes hours. Other times it even takes days. I mean, Thanksgiving is coming up, and that takes all day long. You know, to not have the recognition of how hard you've worked, it's a little disheartening. But then the other times when people do appreciate and people do enjoy what you've created for them, then you don't even have to eat it yourself. That's enough. We're gonna add a little bit of a chiffonade basil, just really thinly sliced basil.
A little basil.
This is a really key ingredient to a great bruschetta. Really nice.
Can that camera pick up how good this smells?
Oh, yeah, I love that sound. So let these get just a little bit of color. I'm gonna flip them. Just let them cook a little bit on the other side. To this, we're also going to add a little bit of chopped garlic. So you're getting your hands dirty again. Go ahead and add half of that spoon of garlic. Perfect.
That good?
Beautiful. We grab a little bit of that olive oil and drizzle some olive oil and some salt and pepper. Perfect. A little salt, a little pepper. This is the fun part. You're going to get your hands dirty again. This is some aged Parmesan. We're actually going to do a few little shreds. So the trick is hold the shredder part nice and still and move the cheese. Here you go. Good. A couple more. Perfect.
I have mad cooking skills.
You do. Good. All right, these got some beautiful color.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Let it cook for just a little bit longer. No, but I think that the beautiful thing, like I was saying before, about each individual flavor is great on its own. The tomato tastes great, the basil tastes great, the Parmesan tastes great, but when you put them all together, each flavor tastes the way it's supposed to. It looks and it smells the way it's supposed to because that's how it was designed. But when you put them together, if the tomato wanted to be a basil and the basil wanted to be tomato, it wouldn't work because they would taste incorrectly. But now that they taste the same, they taste the right way, when we mix them together, it becomes something so much better than it could have been on their own. And I think that's just a testament to us and our walk.
So kind of what you're saying is that Martha was a tomato and she wasn't thrilled about it.
You know, very possibly. You might be right. Because a tomato is kind of the boring ingredient. It's not the fancy ingredient, the one that's doing all the cool stuff. You know, the aged Parmesan, that's cool. The basil, that's really cool. But the tomato, that's just the bulk of it. You know, she was the one that was actually creating the bread to be broken. What an honor. She was the one that was cooking the food that everyone else was going to be feasting on. And she was focusing on the wrong part. She was focusing on, I have to do all the work. And the truth is, all the work that she was doing was making the bread breaking possible for later. Yep. You know, be happy being the tomato, because without the tomato, you wouldn't have your bruschetta.
Yep.
It would all be just Parmesan and basil, and that's not that much fun. So once our chicken is finished, we're going to pull them out and do a small dice.
Now, it seems to me that Martha started out with the intention of loving Jesus through her gift of cooking and serving, but she missed the mark of God's best for her life in this moment. I mean, as someone who spends a lot of time in the kitchen, what do you think may have gone wrong in her heart that Jesus had to sort of gently challenge her?
Well, you know, cooking it's not exactly easy, especially if you're cooking for a lot of people. So maybe just the stress of work, maybe that got on her mind. And she was like, I just need some help here. Maybe Mary was sitting at the feet of the Messiah, and Martha was back there cooking for the Messiah. In my opinion, as a chef, cooking for the Messiah, I can't wait to get to heaven. Will I get to cook for Jesus? I don't know, but I hope I do. But maybe maybe the stress of work got to her.
Okay.
That's very possible, working in a kitchen, because it's pretty stressful.
Yeah, in many ways, it's like I have this sense of her she was allowing herself to be a human doing instead of a human being. Wow. Whereas Mary was resting at Jesus' feet and just learning how to enjoy Him. And she had forgotten how to enjoy the fact that she was getting to serve the Lord, the one that she had loved.
And that's pretty much it, my friends. So that chicken is actually, it's not going to cook the tomatoes. We want the tomatoes to stay a little bit nice and crunchy and fresh still. But check this out. So when you're done, you take a beautiful little plate like this. Just fill your beautiful chicken bruschetta right on the inside of the plate. Oh, that garlic looks wonderful. Mm. So when you're done, this is how I like to serve bruschetta. Just a little bit of rip, just break the bread, just like so.
So if Martha had gone ahead and prepared some chicken bruschetta, she'd have been a lot better off than whatever she was doing.
Well, she certainly would have had something delicious. I wonder what they were eating. Probably wasn't that good. But that's pretty much it. You want to try it?
Sure.
Yeah?
Let's
All right,
go
here
for
you can
it.
take your bread just like that.
Okay.
You just take a little scoop. Yeah, that basil. It's beautiful. What do you think, my friend?
Excellent.
Delicious?
Mm-hmm. I love the way all the flavors come together, and the tomato is really important.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Mm.
Delicious. It could be lunch.
Excellent. Mm. Thank you very much.
You're very welcome.
Nathan Lippy, He'll be on TV tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. at the 9 a.m. hour on the Today Show.